Hello again, everyone, and thanks for watching. It looks like President Donald Trump will be meeting with the respected Supreme Leader of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Kim Jong-un, by May, sometime before May, or by May is what they said. And a lot of people are surprised. To tell you the truth, I'm not entirely surprised. I made a video maybe a month ago, didn't get that many views, maybe 150 views the last time I checked. But it was 20 things that Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump have in common. And they're a lot alike when you really think about it, when you know both of these guys. You kind of study them a little bit. They have a lot in common. So I'm not surprised they're going to meet. Really. But anyway, let me give you a few random thoughts off the top of my head about this. First, there was probably a lot more in the message that the South Korean delegation that met with Kim Jong-un and then flew to Washington to meet Trump. There's probably a lot more in that message from Kim Jong-un to Donald Trump than we know about. I'm sure there was a letter, maybe a sizable letter, and Kim Jong-un laid it all out to Trump, because a lot of stuff has been getting distorted in the media. A lot of what we think we know about North Korea comes out of South Korea. And it all gets distorted and mishmashed. And then Washington, D.C., they distort things. The American media distort things. And Trump doesn't know what to think, which is why he vacillates so much. One day, yeah, I'll meet with Kim, and the next day, no, fire and fury. I'm going to destroy the place. So I think probably Kim laid it out for him, or Kim's people. They put this thing together, and they explained the facts of life to Donald Trump, which is why Donald Trump, I think, so quickly agreed. Notice that Trump didn't say, well, give me a few days to think about it, meet with my people, or talk to my national security advisor, yada, yada, yada. No, he snapped at it. He said, yeah, I'll meet with Kim Jong-un. So there's a lot more in that message than we know about. The biggest loser in the whole thing was Vice President Mike Pence. Remember, he went to South Korea for the Olympics just a little while ago, and he stopped off in Japan and brought Prime Minister Shinzo Abe with him, which wasn't a good look. South Koreans really don't want to see this guy. And then he brought Otto Warmbier's father and did this whole, dog and pony show with that. And then sitting in the stands, he snubbed Kim Yo-jong, the sister of Kim Jong-un. And when you snub Kim Jong-un's sister, who is his personal delegate to South Korea, you're snubbing Kim Jong-un. That's just the way that works out. And so, Mike Pence, he's like, sitting there like that stone face he's got. I'm thinking, where have I seen this stone face before? Yeah, on Easter Island. There's a startling resemblance, frighteningly so. And so there's Mike Pence going, thinking, he's probably not, but anybody with half a brain would be thinking today, go, wait a minute, I had a chance to get something going between the United States and North Korea, and I blew it because I was so arrogant I wouldn't talk to the sister of the Supreme Leader. And now he's out of the loop. Mike Pence is out of the loop. And I don't think the North Koreans are going to want to have anything to do with this guy. Okay, fine, you do that once, that's just, and now Donald Trump's going to get all the glory. And I think Trump is thinking, in the back of his mind, he's thinking Nobel Peace Prize. Because, yeah, if he can patch this thing up and get this going, and being an honest broker between North and South Korea, and get everything wound down, and get rid of, North Korea will get rid of its nukes, then yeah, he would be in line for a Nobel Peace Prize. And man, that would be something for him. The irony is cosmic, almost, when you think about it, because back in 1905, President Theodore Roosevelt, he got a Nobel Peace Prize for brokering the peace treaty between Russia and Japan, which that peace treaty held for something like 30 years. Not a long time, but it was still 30 years. But also, that peace treaty, Roosevelt handed over Korea to the Japanese, lock, stock, and barrel. So for 35 years, the Koreans were virtual slaves to Japan. The Japanese treated the Koreans worse than farm animals. So Theodore Roosevelt got himself a Nobel Peace Prize by handing all these Koreans into slavery. So it'd be something if Donald Trump kind of reversed that in a way, that egregious, tragic mistake, by doing something good here. We'll see. I don't know. But it'd be interesting to think about. And I was wondering, when these two guys meet, what's it going to be like? I did a little lash up in Photoshop, show them shaking hands. What would they say to each other? I have Kim Jong-un greeting Donald Trump with, "Hello, you old dotard." And, Donald Trump, says something like, "How's you doing, Rocket Man?" Something like that. So, I think they probably get along really well. Like I said, they have a lot in common. They're kind of the same kind of man, in a way. Another thought is, I wonder how Secretary of State Rex Tillerson feels. He's actually been working pretty hard trying to get something going. But he's been getting just heavy sledding all the way from Washington. His own State Department doesn't want to see North Korea and South Korea get together. And Trump himself, there's Tillerson out there working hard, and Trump says, he had those tweets. Remember those tweets? And he says, don't waste your time with these people. We'll do what has to be done. And there's Tillerson going, I thought I was doing a pretty good job, making some progress here with the North Koreans, and then Trump yanks the rug out from under me, and I looking foolish. And then the North Koreans are asking Tillerson, is Trump crazy? He goes, he's the president. How do you want me to answer that question? So now Tillerson, despite all his best efforts, he gets robbed of the credit. I just got a feel for the guy. And another thought is, now that Kim Jong-un has Trump committed to a meeting, he has to be really careful. This is going to be really tough for Kim Jong-un, because a lot of people in South Korea, in North Korea, China, not so much in China and Russia, but his own people in South Korea are going to try to torpedo this thing. And so he has to be real careful about what happens, so he doesn't spook Trump. But the same thing, the warmongers in Washington, D.C., this is the last thing they want to do, is see peace between North Korea and South Korea, because these warmongers are hoping for war. They want a war with North Korea, to do the same thing to North Korea what they did to Iraq and Libya and Syria. They'd love to do to North Korea. And now that that's not happening, now that that's snatched away from them, they're going to fight Trump every step of the way here on this. And they're going to try to prevent Trump from going and meeting Kim. Now, see if Trump has the balls to stay the course. Once he's committed himself to meeting Kim Jong-un, let's see if he goes through with it, or if he changes his mind again. because Trump changes his mind as often as he changes his underwear, which is probably several times a day. You know, he's that kind of guy. So we'll see. You know, but I'm going to be watching the warmongers, the neocons, and see if they're trying to torpedo this. And you watch, they will. Another question is, will President Moon Jae-in of South Korea meet Kim Jong-un before Kim Jong-un meets Donald Trump, or will they meet him afterwards? I hope it's before. I hope that Moon and Kim meet before Kim and Trump meet. And I think that's what's going to happen. You get everything lined up. And so when something good comes out of that meeting, then Trump can come in and take the credit. See? So I think that's, and they'll give him the credit. They'll give Trump the credit. So I think that's the way everybody wants it all the way around. And finally, and last here, is the one thing I haven't heard anybody talk about so far is a peace treaty, because that's what we need. We need a peace treaty between North Korea and South Korea, and between North Korea and the United States. Now, the United States and North Korea signed the armistice on July 27th, 1953. South Korea didn't sign it. So I believe the United States signed for South Korea, but even then, you know, when you look at that, it's just the signatories are China, North Korea, and the United States, the primary signatories. The United Nations, the United States acting for UNC. So nobody's talking about a peace treaty. And that's really the ultimate goal of this thing, is to get a peace treaty done. Because once a peace treaty is done, then the nukes become a moot question. You don't need nukes. Because now with the peace treaty, and now the United States will have an embassy in Pyongyang, and South Korea will have an embassy in Pyongyang, North Korea will have an embassy in Washington, D.C., and they'll have an embassy in Seoul. So when you've got all these people exchanging normal diplomatic relations, friends don't nuke friends. You understand what I'm saying? And there's no reason why North Korea and the United States should be enemies, especially after the United States patched it up with Vietnam, and we have an embassy in Vietnam after all that kerfuffle. So that's what will happen. And then nukes make no sense for North Korea to have nukes. They'll say fine, because they have a huge conventional army, and that conventional army is pretty good, and that's not going anywhere. They'll keep that big conventional military because they're very proud of it. And so, I mean, it's not too strong a statement to say that that the KPA, the Korean People's Army, is the core of the country. I mean, they built the whole country around that army. So that's not going anywhere. But as far as nukes, yeah, Kim Jong-un will give them up if he can get a peace treaty. So I expect to hear people talking about that, you know, but we'll see. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there for the moment, and we'll see what happens. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.